There is a part of the world that lives large in our imagination. A place of endless forests, mighty rivers, and stories whispered on the wind. This is Eastern Russia, a vast and untamed land that stretches across continents. For me, the idea of traveling here was a dream filled with mystery and excitement. I wanted to see the real Russia, far from the grand cities, and meet the people who call this wild landscape home. It's a land of incredible beauty, towering mountains and the deepest, purest lake on earth. Our journey would be overland, by road and rail across thousands of miles. The real magic happens on the ground, sharing a cup of tea with a stranger in a forgotten village. The road stretched ahead, a thin ribbon disappearing into the horizon. This was more than a trip, it was a pilgrimage to the heart of a land that has fascinated me for as long as I can remember. The border crossing was a simple affair, yet it felt momentous, like stepping through a doorway into another world. The signs changed, the language became a beautiful, unfamiliar melody, and the air itself seemed different. Our first days were spent driving through landscapes overwhelming in their scale. Endless forests, a sky that stretched forever. We traveled for hours without seeing another soul, just the occasional truck rumbling past. The sense of isolation was immediate and powerful. You begin to understand the mindset of the people who live here, self-reliant, patient, deeply connected to nature. The journey was punctuated by small moments of wonder, a deer darting across the road, an eagle soaring above the trees. The silence was profound, broken only by the hum of our engine and the whisper of the wind. Our first proper stop was a small roadside cafe, a simple wooden building with smoke curling from its chimney. Inside, a woman with a kind, weathered face served us bowls of hot borscht. We communicated with smiles and gestures, my first taste of Russian hospitality. It was a simple meal, but it felt like a feast. The journey was already teaching me that human connection doesn't always need words. The road ahead was still long, stretching thousands of miles towards the Pacific Ocean, but I no longer felt like a stranger in a strange land. I felt like a welcome visitor, invited to explore the wonders of this incredible country. For days, we were immersed in the Siberian taiga, the largest forest on Earth, a colossal belt of coniferous trees. Driving through it is hypnotic birch and pine trunks lining the road like silent sentinels, forest stretching to the horizon. It feels ancient and primeval, a world untouched by time. The air is so clean it feels like you are breathing for the first time. The taiga is teeming with life, though much of it remains hidden. Bears, wolves, lynx, and the elusive Siberian tiger. We saw tiger tracks by a riverbank, a thrilling reminder of the wildness around us. The forest has its own sounds, birds, rustling leaves, and at night, a profound silence. One afternoon we walked into the forest, sunlight filtering through the canopy, a magical, dappled light. It felt like stepping into a cathedral built by nature. The scale of everything was immense, the trees towered above us. In that moment, I understood why the forest holds such a special place in the Russian soul. The local people have a deep respect for the taiga, moving through it with quiet confidence. For me, a city dweller, it was a lesson in humility and dependence on the natural world. The taiga reminded me of the importance of preserving these wild places for the future. It is a treasure of global significance, a green lung for our planet. After days in the wilderness, the sight of a small village was a welcome change. These settlements appear suddenly colorful wooden houses in a clearing. We stopped in one such village, not on any tourist map. The houses, or izbas, were beautifully crafted, each unique and brightly painted. Soon, an elderly man named Ivan invited us into his home for tea. Inside, the house was simple but cozy, dominated by a large brick oven. Ivan's wife, Maria, served us black tea with homemade jam and fresh bread. Through broken Russian and patient gestures, we shared stories of village life, harsh winters, and deep connection to the land. There was no complaint, only quiet dignity and peace. The generosity and warmth shown to us were overwhelming. I had come to see Russia's landscapes, but I was discovering its greatest treasure was its people. As we continued east, the landscape changed. Forests thinning, hills rising. Then, we saw it, Lake Baikal, the Pearl of Siberia. The oldest and deepest lake in the world, holding 1/5 of the planet's fresh surface water. To see it for the first time is to be struck silent by its scale and beauty. The water is so pure and clear you can see stones and fish far below the surface. Standing on its shore, I felt awe and reverence. This was a sacred place for the local Buryat people. We explored the shores, stayed in Listvianka, and took a boat trip out onto the lake. Drifting in perfect silence, the water reflecting the sky, I felt as if I was staring into the abyss of time itself. The ecosystem is unique, with thousands of species found nowhere else, including the Nerpa, the world's only freshwater seal. We were lucky to see a few, their curious eyes watching us from the water. Lake Baikal is a world treasure, a delicate ecosystem that must be protected. It is a powerful reminder of the beauty and fragility of our planet's wonders. The lake's presence is humbling, spiritual, and unforgettable. It is a place that stays with you long after you leave. Though my journey was in summer, the local stories of Baikal in winter painted a different world. For 5 months, the lake freezes over. The ice thick enough to support trucks and cars, a vital highway for remote villages. The ice forms incredible turquoise and sapphire sculptures, with some areas so clear they reveal the dark depths below. The locals call this black ice, a breathtaking, otherworldly landscape. Winter on Baikal is not just about survival, it's a time for celebration and spiritual connection. The Buryat people perform ancient shamanic rituals on the ice, believing the lake's energy is strongest in winter. Shamans in colorful robes beat drums, their chants echoing across the frozen expanse. The blend of natural wonder and ancient tradition makes Baikal's winter unique. Hearing these stories made me long to return and witness the spectacle myself. People here do not just endure the winter, they embrace it, finding beauty and community in the harshest conditions. The frozen lake is a symbol of this spirit: challenge, beauty, and connection. Baikal's spirit is strong, shimmering under the sun or sleeping beneath turquoise ice. Leaving Lake Baikal, we traveled east to Ulan-Ude, capital of the Buryat Republic. Here the faces and architecture changed, a strong Asian influence, a reminder of Mongolia and China nearby. Ulan-Ude felt vibrant, a crossroads where east meets west. The most striking landmark is a giant bronze head of Lenin in the main square, a surreal Soviet relic. But just outside the city, we visited the Ivolginsky Datsun, Russia's most important Buddhist monastery. Brightly colored temples stood in stark contrast to gray Soviet blocks. Monks in saffron robes chanted and spun prayer wheels, incense thick in the air. We were welcomed warmly, invited to observe the ceremonies. Seeing this vibrant Buddhist culture thriving in Siberia challenged all my preconceptions of Russia. The Buryat people have their own language, traditions, and delicious cuisine, like buzi, steamed dumplings eaten by hand. Ulan-Ude showed me a side of Russia often overlooked, a place of cultural diversity and coexistence. It broadened my understanding of this vast and complex nation. The final leg was the long road to Vladivostok, the far east of Russia. The landscape grew wilder, rolling hills, dense forests, vast distances between towns. For days we drove east, the Pacific Ocean calling us forward. This region is a place of pioneers, exiles, and adventurers, the land itself rugged and untamed. We passed the mighty Amur River, forming the border with China, Chinese towns visible across the water. The sense of being at a frontier, a meeting point of nations and cultures, was palpable. As we neared the coast, the air changed. We could smell the salt of the sea before we saw it. The final approach to Vladivostok was spectacular, the road winding through steep hills with sudden glimpses of the ocean. The city clings to the edge of the continent, built around the beautiful Golden Horn Bay. Finally we arrived. Standing at the Pacific, we had crossed the largest country on Earth. I felt exhaustion, relief, and pride. The journey had been long and challenging, but worth every moment. Staring at the endless blue, I felt a profound connection to the world. The road had been our teacher, its lessons unforgettable. The adventure was over, but the memories were just beginning. Looking back, it's the small moments that shine brightest. The taste of hot borscht, the kindness of strangers, the silence of Baikal. Russia's true heart lies in its people and their warmth and resilience. This journey taught me to look beyond headlines and meet people where they are. The Russians I met were proud, deeply connected to their land, and eager to share its beauty. They shattered stereotypes and revealed a reality far more complex and beautiful. The isolation and natural beauty of Eastern Russia had a profound effect on me. Being in such a vast landscape forces you to look inward, stripping away distractions. I found peace and clarity in the endless forests and on the ancient lake shores. The journey was as much about exploring my own inner landscape as the outer one. I end this tale with gratitude for the people, the land, and the privilege of the journey. The world is a vast and wonderful book. Let's be curious, brave, and connect with each other.